Hi, this is Rainbow Abeg. We are going to address a topic today that I think we all will be able to relate to, and that's I'm stuck. So, we're going to talk about areas where you might be stuck and how to get a little bit of energy in there and get things unstuck. It's pretty common for most of us to feel some dissatisfaction in areas of life. You may actually do a sweep of your life and realize there's maybe more than one area, and that's all right. But I'm going to give you something a little counterintuitive to enter into as a way to get unstuck. So I'm going to help your mind to design a way out of being stuck. But first, let me give you some ideas on where I want you to start your focus. This may be a little counterintuitive. I'm going to ask you to start with where are you already doing well? Look for your positives. You can chart this out. Where are you finding some success? Where are you finding that your life feels pretty good? Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe you're hitting the gym. Where in your life are you stable, able, and you've got things moving? There's a reason I want you to start with the positives. There's a lot we can learn from ourselves, and I want you to be your guide through this part. So where do you already have it going on in a great way? Looking at your wins, you may find that you're pretty solid in your finances, that relationship in your world. You're paying your bills, you're making some money, you're not emotionally spending. Maybe your relationship, your needs are being met. Maybe your house is clean, or you're doing other things that have you feeling a little bit of a champion. So I want you to map that out, write it down. And then I want you to look inside yourself and figure out why. Why are you able to do your bills on time? Why are you able to interact in a positive way in your relationship? Maybe work's going well. What within you, how is your contribution to what is going well where you're not stuck? I want you to look at your contributions. Try to make at least a list of 3 points. What are you doing right? Patterns can give you a lot of information. Once you self-study and have some understanding on your patterns, we're gonna be able to also take this over to the area where you feel like you're struggling, where you feel stuck. Where is your suffering? Now this is gonna be obviously another piece of paper where you're gonna sit down and map that out. Where do you feel that sense of immobility? A lot of times I say suffering because when people feel stuck, it feels out of control. There's usually a story in their head that there's nothing they can do about it. So next, write down the areas where you don't have things moving, where that suffering is, and where you're stuck. We're looking for patterns. I believe you're smarter than you probably give yourself credit for. So when you look at your area of suffering and you're starting to get a little more upfront with your own patterns, I want you to look for your standards. If you are overspending, if you're not paying your bills on time, why do you have a low standard in that area? You're going to have a story that connects with that. This is about you getting to know yourself. If you want to get unstuck, you're not a victim, there's no excuses, but there might be reasons. That's why it's important if you're working with someone that they're compassionate and they understand at least how your mind works and where you get to the area where you're stuck. So I'm helping you to learn to be your guide through that yourself. So why is your standard so low in those areas? Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe you're with someone that's just not treating you the way that you deserve. That, again, these things can be very complex. There can be a lot of reasons. Usually it's tied to the history behind you. But right now what you're dealing with is patterns. So why is your standard low in these areas? Maybe you're not treating yourself well physically. Maybe you sacrifice sleep. Why is your standard low there? Look at the storyline that goes with that so that you get some pertinent information, because I believe you're smarter than you're giving yourself credit for. The storylines you're looking for, let's go back to the sleep example. You sacrifice sleep constantly. Why do you do that? You may, well, I have too much going on. I have to get to work for me to stay on top of everything with kids. It's going to tell you again about your patterns. What is the story that's connected to that? It's going to lead to some kind of disempowerment. There'll be usually some feeling of victimhood that ties in with it. So if your story is ultimately, I'm ultra responsible because nobody else will do it, that's going to tell you why you get stuck and why your standard's low in that area. Once you have that information on yourself, you have a pattern down, then you're going to be able to start taking some action steps. I want you to think of somebody you know that's actually proficient in that area and go interview them. And that can just be a regular conversation. You might actually say, I want to sit down and interview you because you seem to have a schedule that I would love, and tell me how you got to that. Learn their patterns, learn what stories they're in, learn their beliefs. Books can also do that. Books can also mentor. Watch videos. So you're going to do a little bit of research on how to raise your own standards. Who would you have to be to get what you want? That's a question that I've asked myself for years. And that will help me to raise my standard in any area of my life. I want you to do the same. I want you to look at yourself. I want you to look at your life, find out where you want to raise your standards. But I want to caution you not to do this with any kind of self-shaming, because most of us are conditioned into self-shaming. This is about freedom. This should be fun. This is you on a new path of exploration. Being able to raise your standards is a process. Evaluating yourself, learning your stories, your patterns, and then jumping in to change them. It'll take some challenge. Change is not easy, but it's very doable. I know that you can do it. I'm happy to be on this journey with you, so please like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments below, what did you raise your standard on? What did you figure out in your patterns? And if you come up with a tip that's helpful, please share it with everyone else. We're a team here. If you're new, thanks for spending this time with me today. And if you're family, as always, welcome back. We'll continue to journey together, to explore. You don't have to stay stuck. Today is the day that you get to move forward. Blessings.